What did we talk about during the week leading up to this football game? Turnovers and the defense was going to be a big factor in this football game, and it certainly was. Welcome on into the College Football Nightcap, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Lucas Hill. Thank you all for tuning into this instant reaction analysis as Notre Dame punches its ticket to the college football playoff national title. They will face the winner of the Cotton Bowl tomorrow between Ohio State and Texas. It's all Irish. It's all Lions tonight, but we have a lot to break down. So everybody do us a favor because we got a good bit of y'all pouring in right now. Shout out my boy Cruz Oxenrider over around Alabama's territory. Hey, the guy had a pretty nice parlay at the start of it, and then it quickly kind of evaporated because he tried to get in. He had an anytime touchdown for Tyler Warren. Unfortunately, that did not hit at all. So, man, but shout out to him. Great guy. Check him out for all your SEC memes. But let's go ahead and let's kind of get this thing rolling. If you're watching on Instagram, make sure that you leave your comments in the comments below. Make sure you also give us a follow at Lucas_Hill17 if you're watching on Instagram. If you're watching on X, follow me at Lucas_Hill23. Make sure you hit that like as well as repost this video. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like, share, and subscribe for more from us here on the College Football Nightcap. We are going to bring you the best around college football as we bring you the most up-to-date analysis of everything that happened in the world of sports. This was a game that I already mentioned to you briefly a couple minutes ago. The turnover battle was going to have to play a difference in this football game. The winner of this football game was the one who made the biggest plays at the end of it and the ones that made the last mistake. Penn State was the last one in this one. I mean, if you're Drew Allar, you cannot throw that football across the middle of the field. To me, I that's the cardinal sin of every quarterback is throwing the football back across the middle of the field. You cannot have that. That was not a good decision by Drew Allar. You just cannot have that. At that point in the game, you cannot ever have something like that. I mean, it was just a bad game from Allar. And look, we knew Allar had his inconsistencies throughout the season. You know, I think he had so much pressure going in, and the guy got away with so much due to the referees. The guy had maybe 3 or 4 interceptions this game, but he only ends up with 1 on the day because of the penalties that were questionable at best. It was one that you definitely could have looked at and said, okay, some of these penalties that they're calling on defensive pass interference on Notre Dame, it was rather questionable. The last one that where Tyler Warren's in triple coverage and you end up deciding to throw the football to him in triple coverage. It was just a bad decision by Drew Allar. Just a terrible choice. I mean, you cannot have that at that point in the game. Cannot have that. And so, look, that's at the end of the day, you knew what was going to happen. You knew at the end of the day, that was the guy you had to roll with. And I've gotten a couple of texts already. Let's go to one of our comments on Instagram. What a game. Both teams deserve to be there, and this is exactly what a semifinal should look like. It definitely exceeded expectations, I will say this. I literally just got another text from a buddy. I'm going to read it right now. All the blame should be on James Franklin for his decisions at the end of the game. I don't think so. I'll say this. Drew Allard made some bad choices. Drew Allard made really, really poor decisions with the football. And so when you look at overall how he played, the referees bailed his ass out a lot. That's just the bottom line. That's the bottom line. But, I mean, you cannot have a game where you throw into triple coverage, you get bailed out. You throw across the middle of the field, the cardinal sin for every quarterback, and you do just that. You make bad decisions. I don't think this is on James Franklin. It's not. This is on offensive inconsistency by Drew Allard. Poor throws that were made. Poor decision-making. Leaving the pocket early. You cannot have that. You cannot have that from a young guy. And look, I know we give Drew Allard all the crap because of what he gets away with. I know. But I think that this guy is still young. I think he still has a lot to learn in the Andy Koltnecki offense. I think this was a good game plan to start off. But look, let me ask you this. Where did the running game go? Where did the pairing? Why did Nick Singleton and Kaytron Allen, why weren't they more involved in the passing game? Nick Singleton has 2 receptions. Kaytron Allen has 1. Tyler Warren, 6 catches, 68 yards. But you knew that was your number one guy. You knew that was somebody you had to get the football out to. You needed to get him out there. It was important that you ended up doing so. And so, at the end of the day, hell of a job by Marcus Freeman in this defense, shutting down the passing attack that Penn State had. They really did do a great job. Hell of a game from Riley Leonard coming into that football game, knowing he was banged up, knowing that he struggled running the football. The guy averaged only 2 yards a carry, but the guy flat out had a great, great game. And so, look, that's what your senior leader does. Forget the concussion. You go back in the football game and you finish what you started. That is exactly what you got. And that is exactly what was needed at the end of the day. That's a damn good Notre Dame team. I told you, the only way for the winner of this football game was going to win the turnover battle, and the one that made the last decision. That was Penn State, and that was Penn State. That was it. I mean, I'll give Penn State this. That front 5 got after Riley Leonard. I thought at the end of it, once you got to that sack that Penn State was able to get, Kozai Izzard, dude, had a hell of a game. And 2 plays later, boom. Christian Gray arguably with the game of his life. Dude, Christian Gray was all over the field today. I mean, you cannot ask for a better game from one of your leaders on the defense. It's huge. You needed something like that from your defense. Christian Gray, I thought, Christian Gray is still a young dude, But guy came in and made a huge difference for this football team. I mean, absolutely with a huge game. And look, the city of St. Louis definitely deserves a lot of credit for what they've done, producing great, great athletes. So here's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to get the spaces involved. We're going to get you guys to get involved in this. We want to hear what you guys think about what happened today. Man, extremely excited to hear you guys' thoughts, you guys' reaction to everything that happened around college football, man. So here's the thing. This was the game that Notre Dame needed to get over the big hump. Everybody said before the season really began, you lost to Northern Illinois at the start of the year, and you come storming right on back. I mean, what a hell of a performance by Marcus Freeman and this Notre Dame team. You came in guns a-blazing. You came out really, really aggressive. You came out ready to fight. And that's what you did. Believe it or not, man, I mean, Notre Dame's a good team. Defensively, you knew their linebackers were going to get active. And look, Penn State did a pretty decent job of blitz pickup. Katron Allen, that QB draw that they ran on third down, hell of a blitz pickup on the design run with Jaden Osbury coming screaming through the A-gap. That was a great blitz pickup. But that's just an even better job of Al Golden putting together and making great plays and creating good schemes throughout that defense for them to be able to get the victory. Guys, that's a damn good win for Notre Dame. That's an old school quality win that you wanted. Guys, if you have any more thoughts, let me know what you guys think, your overall thoughts of this game. Let us know in the comments. We got 73 of you in the X stream right now. We got a good bit of you in the Instagram. We got a good bit of you in YouTube. I mean, let me know, please. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts, you guys' opinions on everything we got to see throughout college football today. It's been one of those games that you did not really expect until you got to that second half. That first half, there was no way that you would have thought that Notre Dame would be able to come back down 10-0, and then you just fumble the football. Abdul Carter misses the fumble. Boom, you scored 10 unanswered from the end of the first half to the start of the first half. That first drive from Riley Leonard, that was the statement drive that I thought would turn the tide of that football game. And I thought Notre Dame was going to be able to walk back in that game and be able to steal it. I'm just being straight up with you. I watched as the progression of that football game went along, and I was like, holy cow, where did all this come from? Like, I was shocked just to see the amount of talent that was on full display throughout this football game. Like, it was genuinely mind-boggling to me how crazy this game was and the type of studs that showed out in this football game. Studs you didn't really expect to see break out throughout this football game. And guys, look, this was one of those games that you didn't expect to have. You were expecting maybe a low-scoring game. So was I. I was not expecting a fireworks show. I was expecting more of maybe a 14-17 game. I was expecting a low-scoring one, but I thought that it was going to be one of those games where I thought that it was going to be one where it was going to be run in the trenches, and that's exactly where we got our football game on. It was a game that was going to be decided in the trenches, and that is exactly what we got. It's what we deserved and what we rightfully, as the fans, as analysts, that is what we wanted in this football game. Exactly what we wanted. And I'm really, really excited for what's to come in the near future and what's to come for tomorrow's game because look, we got a great semifinal today. Make no mistake about it. Congratulations, Notre Dame back in the national title. Rightfully deserves to be back. And guys, let's just be clear. Let's just be clear. If you didn't expect a game like this, you're lying to yourself. I'm just telling you right now. There is no way you would have thought that you would have looked at this game. You looked at the analytics. You looked at where both teams were. You looked at how both teams have performed throughout the playoffs, and you would have gotten a game like this. There's no way you would have convinced me otherwise. I have zero belief that you would have. 122 you guys already in here again. You want to join the show, hit up the line, 601-980-1621, 601-980-1621. Continuing on, let's kind of break down some of the calls, some of the game, some of the things that really turned the corner for this football game. I think when Riley Leonard went down, I thought Steve Angeli did a great job of going down the field and leading this Notre Dame team, being able to get yourself in a position to where you can potentially go down the field and get a field goal. That's what you got from there. And you did. You did a great job bringing in that backup in and getting him prepared. That's what you needed. It's exactly what was. I mean, it's unbelievable how Steve Angeli did. I thought that was a big drive. You struggle with Riley Leonard. Bam, he gets knocked out of the game. And now you're struggling with quarterback play. You don't have a guy, and then Angeli comes in and puts together a decent drive. Really did. In the fourth quarter alone, this is where things took a turn. It's 10-10, 31 points in the fourth quarter. 3 ties, 3 lead changes, and 31 points. Notre Dame, they're looking for their first title since '88, back under the Golden Dome. Look, Marcus Freeman's done a great job. I'm emphasizing what I mentioned earlier. There was a lot of pressure when he took the job. And everybody looked at where they were after that game against NIU, and they said, it's not going to end well. This is just going to be another season where Notre Dame's going to be lucky if they win 10 games. They'll probably miss out on the college football playoff. And look, I was very critical of them throughout the season. I thought they were overhyped. I thought they were overrated. And I didn't think they had a prayer. And I think they didn't even deserve of being in the national title. I'll just be straight up with you. But how they performed in this football game into a duel of a football game that's nobody expected. Nobody expected anything like this to even happen. They didn't expect a game to go into a 27-24 ball game and come down to the last play and down to a few mistakes. Nobody expected that. None. I promise you. If somebody expected it, they're lying. They're lying to you, and you need to call them out. But no, I mean, if we're being for real, look at what we had. This is exactly the type of college football playoff that you were going to expect them. However, great game. Nobody's beating Ohio State. Nobody. Look, I love Texas, and I love what they bring to the table with Gunnar Helm, with Matthew Golden, with Isaiah Bond, who's out, with Quinn Ewers. But I'll just be straight up with you. I don't think they come away I just do not see this game being close. So Bond's been struggling. He was taking reps throughout practice, especially last week. I don't know though if he is going to play. I don't know if he's going to be as dominant as you're used to seeing him. I just have a hard time believing that he will. I just don't. Pains me to say, and it pains me to believe so, but I just do not see where Texas comes close to defeating them. I don't. I just don't. And you can hate me for my take. I'm telling you what I believe. It's not happening. I just don't. Just straight up don't. You can hate me for my take all you want. I don't care. But guys, I want to show you a play that I thought was, my God. This was probably one of, if not one of, this is a highlight play that's going to get you an NFL contract. It's plays like this. Look at Jaden Greenhouse in the slot. Bam. And then you just slip, bro. But you know what? That goes back to the route running that is so good about Jaden Greathouse. Jaden needed to get involved in this football game. It took him a while to get involved. I think he had maybe one reception the entire first half. And then he finally started to get his touches in the football game. And look, I'll give Riley Leonard that. Your two big guys were Greathouse and Mitchell Evans. Mitchell Evans had a great first half, dude. I mean, a great first half. That was one of your best tight ends that you've had throughout this season. It's what you needed, and it's who you needed to help build on some momentum. Yeah, he had 2 receptions in the first half for 7 yards. He finishes with 5 receptions, and he finished out the second half with 5 receptions for 100 yards. So a pretty productive second half for Greathouse. Aeneas Williams, he's been pretty active throughout the postseason. I mean, you've been getting him involved in the passing game a lot. You knew that he was going to be a pretty big factor as well. He's made some big plays throughout majority of the year. He's been one of your – I mean, the guy has averaged 8.2 yards a catch. And I do believe that this is going to continue to be a trend for him. He's going to have a very, very productive game whenever you get to the national title. But the biggest thing for Notre Dame was that secondary did a hell of a job, and that linebacking core, despite what Penn State threw at them, they put pressure on Drew Allar enough to force bad decisions that he made throughout that football game. He did what he was supposed to do, and he made the plays when it mattered most at the end of the day. And so that is what you needed from your star. That is what you needed to get those dudes involved. That linebacking core has been active all damn postseason. But I think in this last week was probably their best game. I think this week also, I'm not going to say they replicated what they did last week, but I will say it was damn near close to what they did last week against Georgia. It was impressive. Absolutely something you needed at the end of the day. And it was very, very critical for that linebacking core to get active. Because once Al Golden started dialing up pressure, you knew it was only going to be a matter of time before they were going to start getting home and they were going to start putting pressure on a guy like Drew Allar. I'm going to have a special guest get called into the show real fast. Let me just tell you. No, she's not active right now. But hey, you're live with 135 people watching you.
Oh, yeah. Wait, what do you mean?
You're on the 5. Look on Instagram.
I don't know what you're saying.
Look on Instagram. You're on the phone with me. I love you.
Talk about football.
I love you.
I love you too.
Bye-bye. But no, all right. I just thought I'd have a little bit of fun there. But no, that linebacking core needed to get there. I mean, you had some dudes that showed up in that football game. Abdul Carter, Eamon Vanover, Danny Dennis Sutton, Kozai Izzard. Dude, Danny Dennis Sutton had a damn good game. 2 sacks and an interception. I mean, the guy went out and absolutely balled throughout the entirety of that football game. And that's what you needed, is other guys to step up. Everybody talks about Abdul Carter and what he brings to the table. Believe me, I am aware about Abdul Carter. I think he's arguably, if not probably, the best defensive player in the draft right now. But here's the thing. You needed other dudes to get involved. Abdul Carter was a menace coming off the edge, and so was the interior of that Penn State defensive line. That third down play that they got to Riley Leonard just before Penn State's final possession on offense was impressive. That was as unbelievable as I've seen from a pass rush. But that has been Penn State's strength. The problem is that you got to go attack the portal and you got to get a receiver. You got to get another, because you're going to take a big hit when you lose Tyler Warren. Nick Singleton and Katron Allen, I think, should be back next year. Never mind. I don't know about both of those guys because they're both going to be juniors. I do think that they will declare for the draft at some point. So that's a big loss for them in next year. And so I don't know, man. I mean, the two-headed monster that both of those guys have had has been unbelievable. And for Notre Dame, hey, all I can tell you is good luck against Ohio State. My God, I mean, what a crazy first year of the college football playoff. Guys, I'm going to wrap it up for us here on the College Football Nightcap. We had 134 of you guys tune in today. Thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart for the continued support for us, for the continued love and appreciation that you guys have shown. The beauty is in the journey. We are just getting started. So, guys, we will see you all next time on the Nightcap. Y'all have a great rest of the night, and y'all let's have a great day tomorrow, baby.